You sound great, man. You look even better.
So I was just saying, yeah, I did a whole hour just now, or yeah, an hour. I thought ours was 10:15, and because that's when I normally have them, I forgot we switched it. So I went on, and it worked out great. I ended up just taking some questions, and we talked about relationships, the relationship core, and to what I consider the most important habits in that, which
I love
are
it.
emotional intelligence and making the other person feel special. And like if you can just nail those two, like
Yeah.
your life is just so much better, not only in your personal relationships but your work relationships, your business, all that good stuff. Would you agree?
Totally agree, 100%. And, relationships are hard, communication's hard. I would also add practice full presence listening. For those of you who want to be elite in business, relationships, communication, sales, or growing themselves, just practice full present listening, man. 2 ears, one mouth, listen to the other person, communicate with them. Don't think about the next thing you're going to say or try to be clever or witty or all
Yeah,
that good stuff,
we
too. So I would add that to it. By the way, quick shout out. I saw Q Brew Coffee. Best coffee in Georgia, man.
heck
I'm from
yeah,
Georgia,
let's
so
go,
give a
baby.
shout out to Q Brew. I
Nice, I
saw them
love
on
it.
this live
Yeah,
feed,
I
man.
was mentioned right.
Hell yeah.
It's encompassed in, and I won't go back into the past, but last episode. But in general, make the other person feel special. There's all these little bullet points within there, and yeah, listening, asking
Mhm.
questions, and active listening, remembering their names, remembering details about them, all those things go in there. But it stems from like the very first, and you and I have chatted before, and I don't know if you remember, but the very first book I ever read that sort of started my journey on this whole, like, I need to improve my life. Back when I was in a bad, rough spot, actually in college, when I was suicidal, and I was like, all right, we're at rock bottom. Like, can't really
Mm.
get any worse. And I was one of my professors just happened to recommend a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I really respected him. And I was like, this is a young, cool, hip teacher. Like, this is the guy I want to be when I grow up. And I went in and I just devoured it, and the basic gist of it. And that was the first book I ever read, and it started me on my career of like being like, all right, I am going to rebuild myself, but make the other person feel special. And yes, there's a million ways to do that, including asking them questions and these things. But you make them feel special, and you don't make it about you, and you're empathetic to them, and you ask them questions, and you just shut up and listen. Holy cow, is that the best way? Who knew, right?
Who knew?
So speaking of asking questions, thanks for being with us, brother. We had such a good chat the other day.
Yeah, of
I like
course,
the
man.
free flow. I noticed you filled out whenever we have guests on the show. We ask them a few questions about their top habits and how they gamify them and these types of things. So, yeah, why don't, before we get into this stuff, why don't you just kind of tell everybody how you got to this place, kind of, give a 2 to 3 minute summary of your journey, how you got here, and where you're headed.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate that. Similar to you, I've had a couple of what I'll call resets. Some call it rock bottoms. We'll
Yeah,
call
there you
it
go.
spiritual transformations to be cool, man. 18 years old, brother, was thought I was going to be the first person in my family to go to university. Unfortunately, I grew up in and around a lot of violence and abuse. And instead of going to a full ride to Georgia or Miami or a few other places that I had scholarships to, I ended up becoming what I hate. Committed a violent crime at 18 and was looking at 7 years in prison, man. So a little rough start. Not the plan that I had. I was hoping to go to university, but a mentor appeared in my life in the institution. Not many.
Wow.
It's hard. Not many people can say that. And what was cool about that, it was an African American gentleman. So he decided to cross racial boundaries, mentor me. He was in his 40s. I was 18. He called me young blood. He said, young blood, you're not going to become part of this revolving door system, man. And so with his guidance, with his mentorship, and honestly with his love and showing me what a man looked like, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, went to work in a nuclear waste container factory during the day, community college at night. Did end up at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs, big game this weekend against Tennessee. So we're going to beat them.
That's going to be
Did it. It's going to be rough. But I went from a jail cell to Georgia to a company called Deloitte and Touche in 3 years, big financial consulting, public accounting firm. Fast forward 15 years, I was at the top of the game, corner office, very similar to this view. That's a beautiful view out there. Had the fancy corner office, man, shiny cufflinks, suit and tie. You just said, this dude's going somewhere. But inside, I felt alone, scared, insecure, and how did that appear to me? I was a tough guy, important guy, arrogant guy, wouldn't ask for help guy. And really, I thought the money, the power, the status, all that good stuff would fill me up, and it didn't. So I turned to the dark side, and it found myself in a ditch at 35 years old, looking at the blue sky. I'm like, look, man, you're not going to get number three. So I wanted to figure out who I was, where I was going, and who's coming with me. I wanted to find out who Tommy Breedlove was. I wanted to find out who my heart was, not who I was pretending to be, but who I really was, and just be comfortable with loving, leading, and respecting myself. So I made me my full-time job. I know we talked about this. And in 3 years, just by investing in coaching myself, reading every book I can get my hands on, going to therapy, in 3 years, my money doubled. I went from junior partner, senior partner, international practice leader, my network 10x, but more importantly, I found humility, I found kindness, I found self-love, self-respect, and self-confidence, not the fake stuff. And I stopped letting people who don't matter matter. And that's when my network, I was a senior partner, owner, international practice leader of a big firm. And all of these people started reaching out to me, and I thought, hey, they wanted to do some business, because I never planned on leaving the financial consulting, public accounting world. And so, no, they didn't want to do business. They wanted to ask how I did it. How did you rebuild your relationship with your wife? How did you go from arrogant to calm? And how did you go from one of the most hated people in the firm to one of the most beloved? And I just started coaching them. You know, these people were from 20 to 70, and they were like, man, you need to write a book. And then I wrote Legendary, and it became a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller, and I decided to sell my equity in the firm, go build the Legendary Life Movement, which is an entrepreneur and executive retreat experience and mastermind business, and abound the principles of the book. And that's what led me to you, Will, man. And thank you for letting me share that, brother. So that's my journey, man.
Our paths are so similar. Just in that, right? We had a rock bottom moment type situation, very young. I think we were both about the same age, 18. And then kind of realized, and sort of the light was awoken. You're for different reasons, but you were the young blood, and you had somebody coach you. I just serendipitously discovered a book, and then was like, all right, well, I don't have any friends, I don't have any activities really anyway, so I'm just going to throw myself in and just start sort of teaching myself. But then we both sort of started seeing the light and realized like what life's really about and what actually makes you happy. And yes, I think we both just determined that, especially when you're young, your career, your money, like that's all, like it just all seems like that's what it's all about. And then so we both went that path. We did well that way. And then I think we both came to the same conclusion, which is, wow, yeah, it's not just that. It's all these other things as well that actually make you a happy, fulfilled human being. And so I love having you on and having all this freaking like synergy and crossover, because I feel like, we could probably talk for 3 days straight. But we're going to keep it to 30 minutes.
Indeed.
Maybe.
I love it, brother. I love it.
So tell us about
we'll see.
Legendary, and kind of you're a coach, and you're teaching, and you have retreats, and you help people. Tell us about kind of your principles and what this is all built on, and how you're helping people.
Yeah, the reason I like the title Legendary, and we've created the Legendary Life Movement, is we just don't want you to be elite in business, success, and money. And we want that for everybody. Let me be clear. We want that for everybody. But we want you to be the elite in your relationships. We want you to be happy with your significant other, which is one of the hardest things to be. I mean, that is one of the, people don't talk about how hard having your significant other and relationships and marriage, all that is. But we want you to be elite and legendary in your relationships, your friendships, your happiness, your fulfillment, who you are inside, and be crystal clear on knowing who you are, where you're going, who's coming with you, and prioritizing yourself first. And the reason we chose the word legendary, both for the book and the movement, it's aspirational. If I said Tommy Breedlove's legendary, Will, you'd laugh me off this thing. You know you would. But it's aspirational. I want, when my last breath comes, to have a heart full of gratitude and no regrets. And I want the people that I touched, the employees in our movement, the members that we have, our ambitious and driven men and women, the people who've attended our retreat, but most importantly, the communities we serve, the people around me, my friends and my family, to say that dude did it right. That dude built and lived a legendary life, because that legendary is given to us. We can't claim that we're legendary. It's bestowed to us, and we can be really a horrible legend and really a good legend. And so for me, we're not for everybody. We're for the more ambitious, driven type of human being who wants to make an impact, who wants to live with purpose. And the principles of legendary are first around prioritizing yourself first. Number two, I'm talking about emotional, mental, spiritual, physical health. I'm talking about knowing who you are, standing with confidence, respect, being humble, being wise, and leading from the front. Number two is we can't build and live a legendary life alone. We have to have a tribe around us to help us do success, to help us do business, to help us do life, and to be our authentic selves. Not to be the fake selves, but the authentic selves. And finally, we're a big believer that you can be a pro, you can be legendary, and you can be elite in business and success without compromising your happiness, your family, your friends, and all that stuff. So that's what we stand on. But living a legendary life is about living with purpose. It's about building a world-class network. It's about intimate relationships with your friends, family, and really knowing yourself. It's about mastering your mindset and emotions, being proactive and not reactive. And if we do all that, if we lead ourselves first, then we can lead others. If we respect ourselves first, we can respect others. And if we are open to growth and knowing who we are, man, just life, success, purpose, time, it all seems to come a lot more easy and a lot more natural. And so that's what the principles, and we run retreats, we run experiences, we run a mastermind, we have a community, and we want people to know and do life with us, who want to be better, who want to be more impactful, who want to be more successful. That's what we're
Absolutely,
all about,
man.
so
No, I appreciate that. And so, yeah, now, I mean, it's such a cool, right. And I was saying kind of, I think right before you got on, or maybe it was in the last one. Like I said, I did a full hour. So somewhere around this period, I talked about just these, how I became obsessed early on with these universal principles. I mean, there's different ways to say it. I call them total truths, like these things where I've read them like multiple times in different books. You mentioned you became, you really got into reading books and stuff as well. And it's like, then you start to put the pieces together and you realize you're like, this guy's saying the same thing as this lady and this guy, and they're all saying pretty much the same thing. And then you sort of use yourself as a human science experiment, right? You're like, all right, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to incorporate. And then you're like, oh, wow, this works. And then it, like, the light bulb goes off and you're like, bing, bing, bing. Like, this is one I can hang my hat on. Humans in general, this is a universal truth that's been around since, I think we've been around, and we'll be around until we destroy ourselves. Hopefully not. And you can base your,
God willing, we won't.
Right?
But I'm with you, brother.
You can base your actions and your habits around these types of things, right? And so let's get into some of those. So now you've described, what all this is. So how do you help people to gain this confidence, to understand what it's all about, to give back, to be able to communicate effectively, all these things? What are some of the habits? I guess maybe we'll talk about some of the ones that you've developed, and how I'm sure, obviously, the ones you've developed, you're helping teach. I'll pull this up. You had listed gratitude, visioning, sleep, exercise, health, spirituality, morning ritual. So feel free to just take that wherever you want.
Yeah, let's get tactical to help people and hopefully, God willing, with Will's guidance or what works for me, is you guys and gals will apply some of this into your life. And for me, if I'm not growing, I'm dying. And it begins and ends with reading everything I can get my hands on. And by the way, you can listen now. I mean, there's so many books on Audible, even Legendary, my book's on Audible. If you don't want to read, I'll read it to you. But I want to constantly be growing and opening my mind. And so the more I read, both novels, leadership books, business books, and more importantly, self-development books, which help us get more confidence, which help us get more courage, which help us get more present and kind to ourselves and to others. So it starts with me with reading everything and I take time every day to read. Probably around 30 minutes a day, I'm reading or listening to some new content. Great podcast, a book.
So let me pause right there. So one of the things I try to get into when I get a good habit, which that's a great habit, 30 minutes a day, is to get into the specifics of like when you're doing it. Is it the same time every day? Is it different times of the day? How you're going about it? Can you share with that a little bit?
For sure, it's every morning. For sure. Every single morning of every single day, I am listening to a book for 30 minutes. Usually when I'm either getting ready, I love to get outside in nature. That's another habit I have every single day, even if it's raining. I'm outside walking, and normally I'm listening to a book. I love being out in the nature. I love walking my dogs. I miss them right now. I'm traveling on the road. Annie and Hodges, shout out to you. But every morning, for sure, I'm listening. If I'm not in a meeting and I'm outside walking, I'm listening to some sort of content, some sort of self-betterment, whether it's business, money, success, leadership, or sometimes just a great novel, a historical novel. But definitely every morning for 30 minutes without fail. Yeah. And usually throughout the day, I'm listening to something. I'm not really a TV watcher, although I'll binge every now and then on a show. I just finished 1883. Yeah. I think that's the first show I finished in like 6 years. Loved it, but if I would rather be reading or listening to books and learning, so I can develop myself. Hey, baby, I hear that. I hear a little kiddo.
You say hi.
Hi,
Your Band-Aid's on? All right. Well, do you think Miss Jenny can help you with that? Sorry about that.
That's awesome.
He likes to come in and make little surprises.
Oh, brother, I love it. I love live.
This is how we roll. All right, give me a kiss. Daddy's on the interview. I'll come out and talk to you in a little bit. Say hi to Tommy. Tommy's legendary. Are you legendary?
So awesome. Yeah, aspiring to be.
Yeah, you gotta be. All right, I'll be out in a minute.
Indeed.
Go on. All right, I think it's gonna have to be a. Give me 1 second.
I tell you, and I love it. You got your jammies on. Yeah. Even better, man.
You're like sometimes
even better.
There's nothing on underneath. Today we got lucky. No.
Yeah. Today we have pants on. That's winning today. Habit one. Put on your pants.
I mean, reading and like just engulfing it from. I mean, it is so huge, and I want to get to the point, and so I like to help people. Like I said, like instead of just saying this is what you do, it's like, okay, this is how you're doing it. Now, people listening, how can you put that into your day? Like, how can you inject 30 minutes? You do it when you're walking, you get outside. So you're actually habit stacking out of the oven. So you're actually doing 2 good habits at once, right? You're fulfilling your emotional health core, which is just taking it all in, enjoying life around you, and stopping to smell the roses, so to speak. And you're also then, learning, which is also, it's a mindset and emotional health. Like you're actually learning this information, which is helping you as a human being to grow and become the person you want to be. So yeah, people watching at home, when I used to work out at the gym, I used to do a very similar thing. Instead of walking, when I was working out, I would listen to these podcasts and these things. Now I do it in the morning as well. I do just my 20 to 30 minutes of reading every morning. I have like a stack of books. And
oh man, if I was at home, I'd show you too. Same here. Same here.
I haven't, and so it's like right, and so I prioritize them. Like this is the next one I read. And I mean, it compounds, right? You just read a little bit each day, or listen to a little something, and then it's like all of a sudden you're like, you've been through that, you now have heard that. And are you gonna like remember and take in every single morsel that you heard? No. But the point is, you're going to grab the stuff that resonates with you and that you connect with. And even if you take just 1 or 2 things from that and use it to improve your life, like, hallelujah. So think about how you can, what's the best time of day? Maybe it's a night for you. Everybody's different, right? So you want to customize this habit to you. And to reduce the friction, right, to gamify it, to make sure that it happens, how do you make it obvious? How do you make it easy? How do you make it rewarding, gratifying, satisfying? So for me, I keep the book right when I go to get my coffee. I actually keep the book that I'm reading right next to it. And so it's like, boom, it's there. I can't miss it. I grab it. And now it's become habit. But at first, when I was trying to form the habit, I needed to do that to sort of fake it until I make it, to make it obvious and make it easier. If you've got that book hidden away somewhere and you haven't formed the habit yet, it's going to be a lot harder.
And you and I are so aligned on this, is you can't control your outcomes, but you can definitely control your habits. And for me, when it comes to reading and listening to these books, if it's an aha book, if it's a book I've just fallen in love with, like you said, How to Win Friends and Influence People, if you haven't read that book, please listen to it. It is life-changing. But what I'll do is I'll go back and listen to it again and pick one thing and apply it. And then here's how I apply it. I ask my team to hold me accountable to it. I ask my wife to hold me accountable to it. And I teach it to the men and women on our Legendary Life community, our Legendary Life Mastermind. And when I teach it, it's helped me to master my skills, to remind me to do the reps. But I also, you've got to take intentional action after you gain some wisdom and apply it to your life. Because if you're not doing that, unapplied wisdom is the most useless thing in the whole world. So you're gaining this wisdom, you're gaining these tools, and you're learning from other people. Now, how are you going to apply it in your life? Asking my wife to hold me accountable, talking to her about it, asking my team to hold me accountable, but also teaching it to the men and women who are in our Legendary Life.
Yeah, it just reminded me of a quote I once heard where it said, school teaches knowledge, but what we need is wisdom. And it just sort of, just from a 10,000 foot view, I think that, right, a lot of us confuse knowledge and even the school system for the most part, which is getting better. But, you know, certain things like emotional intelligence and listening, making the other person feel special, all these things we were talking about at the beginning, and these habits here, reading. I mean, they don't, yeah, it's part of the curriculum to read, but they don't teach you how to do it like afterwards. A lot of times people come out of school and they're like, God, thank God I don't have to ever read again, right? Versus like, oh my God, I get to read. I love it.
Right. Yeah, totally. And it will be the most life-changing thing you do if you just begin listening. Remember, there's so many audible books out there. If you just begin listening or reading a book and applying one thing to your life. And the good, you know, it's so interesting. We wonder why we're so depressed or stressed or scared or worried or insecure or angry. Look at what we're inputting into our eyes and ears nonstop. If you turn on most of social media, most of news for sure, especially 24-hour news, or even what we're watching on Amazon, Netflix, Apple, whatever your Hulu, whatever your choice is, most of it's poison. Most of it's negativity, division, worry, scared. So if that's going into your eyes and ears all day long, how could you not be angry, worried, scared, divided? But when you listen or read a great book, when you walk in nature, go to dinner with a friend and put your damn phone down, or you practice gratitude, or you get quiet, or you have thinking time, or you're just around people who lift you up, make you happy, and make you better, that's all positivity. And books are positivity, they're wisdom, they're learning. And if you apply that into your life, you'll be a whole lot more fulfilled, a whole lot more impactful, a whole lot more kind, and ultimately a whole lot more successful. So that's why it begins and ends everything with me with growing. And if I'm not growing, I'm dying, and learning and applying that knowledge into my life to just be a little bit better than I was yesterday.
I love it.
So I love
yeah,
that.
one of the things you said, I just want to kind of point out, basically the gist of what you were just saying is that, you know, what you surround your life with is really what's going to end up, you know, is who you're going to become. And so, right, and some of the things when I'm talking about the different cores, you know, the people, I talked about the top 3 to 5 people. We all have those in our life. Like, and I actually have this exercise where I help people sort of just do a quick rank of where you think they stand in their mindset, their relationships, their physical health, their emotional health, their career and finances, you know. And then it's sort of like, because those are the people that's going to rub off on you, and the stuff you surround yourself. Are you watching garbage crap? Are you reading, you know, news that's putting you in a bad mood and making you mad? Versus, you know, like for me, one of my success habits every single morning when I wake up, I don't like to just jump out of bed, and I'm not going to apologize for that. It's who I am, and I need that 10 minutes or so. I now need my glasses as of last year. Didn't used to have them. My eyes are going, but I have a thing called this.
I'm starting to get a little gray here too, brother.
It's this app called Flipboard, and it's like Apple News, but you can really customize what you want to see. So all I'm actually reading in the morning, all that comes up on my screen now, it's all wellness stuff and self-help, and I don't even like those words, but until we find a better word for them, because people have an aversion to those. But the things that are uplifting, making me feel better, I'm reading about habits, and I'm always picking up, every morning I try to pick up at least one little morsel from that. Right. And that's just an example of, like, I'm still on my phone, and, you know, but I'm gamifying, I'm tricking my brain into being like, we're still getting those dopamine hits, but we're reading positive, good information that's giving it to us, instead of like, oh, sweet, this celebrity, you know, just got blackballed from Hollywood, and, you know, we love it. We love when people fail. These types of, but that's not doing anything. That's not helping you grow.
It's useless. Absolutely useless. And we're living vicariously through other people. I want people to be the captain of their own ship and not worry about what other people are doing, what other people are failing or succeeding in. It's like, you be the master of your destiny and quit outsourcing your thoughts and emotions and happiness to other people. So it's all about personal accountability and looking at the mirror and knowing that is the problem and the solution. Now, what are you going to do about it? And this is rough, Will. This is a little rough. It'll be a little tough. Nobody owes us anything. If we think someone owes us something, we're either entitled or a victim. And again, look in the mirror and know it's the problem and the solution. Number one, your habits become your outcomes. There is no magic pill. Your habits become your outcomes. And there's no white horse coming to save us. You have to participate in your own rescue. And you have to go out there and get these habits, take these actions, and be intentional about it so you can be a little bit better than you were yesterday. And you said something, Will, and I want to go back to it. Every great leader, person, I have 3 rules for friends. Do they make me happy, or do they make me better, and are they net givers? Do they make me happy, or do they make me better, and they're net givers. And if they answer yes to 2 of those questions, then I'm all in all day for them. And we are who we surround ourselves with, and we are what we read. We are our habits. We are the outcomes in our life are the habits we form. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I know you believe in this. I'm looking out this beautiful window and watching a guy literally wash the window in front of me.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
a beautiful city. So
Yeah, man, and that's it. And so, right, you know, you just taking, you know, summing all that up, what we're saying, right, just pay attention to, you know, maybe just take out a piece of paper and just write, like, what are the biggest influences on my life right now, the people, the things that I'm reading, like what's affecting my mindset, and just becoming aware of that. I mean, so taking that to another level, which is, I think it's a little bit too big of a leap, but I'll tell you the end goal where you want to eventually end up with that is to have, I actually have all of my routines, everything that I do, and it's from Monday through Friday, because weekends are totally different for me, but it's my Monday through Friday routine of from when I wake up until I go to bed. And I have a morning routine, I have an afternoon routine, and I have a night routine. And I've literally gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, these are all basically the habits. So I started out with, I put them in red if they were failure habits, I put them in black if they were neutral, and I put them in green if they were success. And my goal was to turn everything to green, right? So it's like basically I'm on autopilot all day, where it's like all my habits are success habits. And even like a neutral one, for example, like taking a shower in the morning. We all shower. It's pretty, you know, it's just something you do, but how can you use that as an opportunity? And so I habit stack that with, I say my mantra, I say what I'm grateful for, and I do my stretching every morning. I tore my my meniscus and my ACL a couple years ago, and so I have to do these stretches, and I used to hate to do it, but I've reduced the friction by doing it in the shower where your muscles are warm and it doesn't feel as bad. And I'm also saying my mantra to myself and what I'm grateful for. So I get out of the shower and I'm like, let's freaking party, dude. Let's go, right? And all it was a shower. But I've used that time wisely, and I've turned a neutral habit into a success habit. Do you have any of those types of things for your morning ritual?
oh my God. So I'm like you. I do morning routines on steroids, and to me, shower time is holy time. I mean, just step back and think that if you are getting to take a shower and clean your body with hot water pouring on your head, if you can't be grateful there, holy cow. So my shower time is thinking time, and one of my habits twice a week, not every day, is 30 minutes of thinking time. But every day, the shower is my thinking time. And I always have something near me that I can write on. We're actually installing something in my shower that I can actually write in my shower. My wife's like, oh God, you're going to mess up our shower now too. But for me, shower time is holy time. It's grateful time. It's feeling blessed time. The fact that I'm on this side of the dirt, I have pouring water over my head, and I'm a water guy. I love water. But it's also my time to think. And so every day, and to me, I've done this both formally and informally. I'm constantly practicing gratitude. Thank you for the breath in my lungs. Thank you for people who love me. Thank you. And I write it down and I say it out loud. I'm constantly sending people texts of how grateful I am there in my life. Every day I give my wife 2 compliments, and they're from the heart.
Yeah.
And it just becomes routine that you live in gratitude, you live in love, you live in humility. And it's so much better than living in fear and living in stagnation. And so for me, every ounce of every moment that I can practice gratitude, reading and gratitude are probably the 2 most life-changing things that I've ever done in my life. And so if people, and luck and success and happiness is not out there. It's for us to go gain, and gratitude and growth.
I love it.
Get you
And just a couple of things you were saying, right? So like, I just want everybody to understand, like, habits. So, you know, those things that you were saying you do, you could just as easily not be doing them. And at one point you weren't doing them. Now they've become part of your routine. It's a habit, and it's nothing, right? Like giving your wife 2 compliments a day. It's so easy not to do that. But like, what is that compounded to? What is giving her 2 criticisms a day versus giving her 2 compliments a day? What is that compounded to? What does that do to your relationship, right? And so it's like, just something I want to really emphasize to people that are watching is habits do not give a shit if they're good or bad, helping or hurting you. They don't care. Like habits are habits. They're going to do their thing. They're going to compound over time. So becoming aware, again, you know, that routine thing I was telling you about, you want to start keeping track of, these are the things that I'm doing every day. And then it's like you got a spotlight on them. You're like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't need to be doing this. And then you got to kind of fake it till you make it. You got to force yourself to do certain things. And it's not going to feel natural at first because your brain's going to resist. I call it the front-loaded hip. excuse me, the front-loaded hump. Like your habits are like, no, 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 dude. We've been firing. Our neurons have been firing this way for a really long time. So back off. Like we like it this way, but no, you got to keep pushing and you just got to keep doing it. And it's a repetition thing. There's no magic time, by the way. People like to say 30 days, 2 weeks, whatever. No, every habit is different. Every person is different. Every amount of time it takes to form a habit. You might form a habit in a week. It might take 2 months. It just all depends on what it is and your particular DNA and your, how you relate to that type of habit and how easy it gels with you and whatnot. Which again, you want to find the habits that are accomplishing the same goal, filling that core, but are customized to you, right? So for instance, like exercising, like don't go to the gym 5 days a week if you hate the gym. Like you're not going to do it. You're going to have resistance to it. But go, figure out how to move your body at least 3 to 4 days a week for 15 to 20 minutes. For me, I love playing basketball. I love playing paddle. I love playing golf. Anything sport, competition related, I don't even feel like it is getting exercise because I'm so into it and I love it so much. My wife, total opposite. She doesn't like any of those things really. But she loves running. She likes getting on her Peloton. And then, Peloton itself is a gamified system. They did a good job, in my opinion, of making it, you've got rewards and you've got the social connectivity and the graphics and all these things to make you feel like you're in a video game almost. But make it a video game for you, make it fun, and figure out, how can I take this habit and customize it so that I'll want to do it.
And I love that, and I'm a firm believer. And you said something powerful that I want to go back to real quick, and then I want to talk about the habits. What we don't realize is 95% of our thoughts and actions are the same as they were yesterday, and we've got to unwire that. We've got to rewire it. Anything that was taught to us can be untaught. Anything that we've been doing can be undone. Anything we believe, we can rewrite the story, and the way we do that is in our habits. And I like to say how you do anything is how you do everything. And the only choice that we have, the only power that we have is our choices. And our habits are our choices. It's the only power we have. We control our choices, our thoughts, and our actions. Our choices, our thoughts, and sometimes we don't even have the choice of our thoughts, but we can rewire our thoughts, correct? And I love gamifying it. I love making it fun. And you're not going to do anything that you don't think is fun. Like you said, if you don't like going to the gym, don't go to the gym. If you like walking, go for a walk. It's literally that simple. But I want everybody to know the only power you have is your choices. And the outcomes of your life are just a compounding effect of your choices and habits. So I love what you said there, Will. But people got to know that 95% of their thoughts and actions are the same as they were the day before.
What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do to rewire it? Yeah, what are you going to do about it?
That's right.
Because you are the captain of your ship.
To instead of being, those guys that just, say, what are you going to do about it? Like, we give you a system. We each have, slightly different ways of doing it, but it's the same end result of getting it done. And you've got to find a system that works for you. Because the system you're working on now, is skewed and it's a little off kilter in some ways, right? We all have strengths and weaknesses, right? I mean, these main areas, some people are better with their physical health, but they really suck with their relationships and they're not doing anything for their career and finance and vice versa and all. But it's that holistic part that's the key. It's making sure that, like you said at the beginning of this, if you're not growing, you're dying, but it's not just in general. It's in these main areas that are scientifically tied to happiness and proven as human beings, these universal truths. We will grow and we'll grow into the person and it'll compound into that person we want to become. And so again, it's not just saying, I need to do this, I need to take responsibility. It's how are you going to do that? What is your system going to be? And I know you have one, so tell people where they can find you and get help from you.
Totally. You can. I'm going to tell you. Just first of all, we talked about reading. Go out and get Legendary. If you're not a reader, I will read it to you. It's all your bookstores. It's an Audible. It's electronic. If you want to know how to gamify your life, if you want to know tactically how to improve your success, your money, your mindset, your emotions, your relationships, and who you are as a human, it's all about self-mastery and self-leadership. Go listen or go buy or read or listen to, and I'll read it to you, Legendary. If you're interested in being around a community that you want to do business in life with, if you're interested in experiences or with other people who want to be world-class and badass in life, business, relationships, mindset, Join us at one of our retreats. Join our community. Join one of our masterminds. Come do an experience, and reach out to me directly, because I have 4 people who check my email. I'm going to give you my personal email, Tommy@TommyBreedlove.com. It's Tommy@TommyBreedlove.com. Come shoot me an email. Tell me where you want to level up your life. And no, I'm not a guru. I'm no sage on the stage. I have these habits. I walk shoulder to shoulder with you every day. And I want you to know you're not alone in whatever you're struggling with, whatever area. We're all struggling with something. Nobody's got it all going on. But check out the book, Legendary. I'll read it or that. And shoot me an email directly, Tommy@TommyBreedlove.com. We want to be the people that you do business in life with, and join us. I miss my puppy too, and I'll end it with the puppy bark.
I love it. Well, thank you, man, so much for being on. Again, I know we can go on. We could probably do this for another 10 hours straight. And I do want to connect with you on the side for a few other things. This was amazing. I hope you guys got something out of this today. I know I did. Habits, routines, holding yourself accountable, getting a system, gamifying it, tricking your brain into doing these things that will help you, and developing these routines and these habits. You can do it. You can do it. We all have it in us, and we look at all around and we see these successful people. We're like, how did they do that? They just did it. They figured out their own way to do it, their own system, and everybody's got a different one. So get help. It's really hard to do it on your own. It's really hard to just wake up and be like, I'm going to be a different person today, and then all of a sudden, it's like those New Year's resolutions, right? Like, and they never last, because you're like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, and then you go to the gym the next day for 12 hours, and you can't walk the next day, and you're like, screw that. That was way too hard, right? You got to start in small chunks. That's another way of gamifying it. One habit at a time. Don't try to overdo it. Anyway, so thank you, my man. This was awesome. Look forward to chatting more. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
That's it for the 5 Core Life. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button on this video and pound that subscribe button so you get notified when new episodes drop. Also, please fill out the free 5 Core Life Evaluator quiz. It's a great way to get a baseline of where you are in the 5 cores and which of the 5 cores you need support. In addition, you'll get some actionable advice that you can apply and start improving your life in the areas that you need it most. That's it for today's episode of the 5 Core Life Podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Get moving. Gain momentum. Join the movement. Join Emmett by going to moremomentum.com to take a free life evaluator quiz on where you currently stand in each of your 5 cores.